right, folks, Roland Martin here. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered for today is Wednesday, April 17th, 2019. First of all, Jack Robinson Day was on Monday. Brooklyn Dodgers, I chose to rock the Kansas City Monarchs, the team he played for the Negro Leagues before he went to play for the Dodgers. So that's how we do that. So that's why I'm rocking this today for Jackie. All right, folks, Texas Tech University dropping race is a factor in medical school and other admissions. Well, that's also because the Trump administration has been pushing schools to do so. We'll talk with the president of the National Medical Association about that, as well as this measles epidemic happening around the country because all these damn white folks won't get their kids vaccinated. This ain't black people, y'all. White folks causing this problem. We'll break it all down with Neva Lubin Johnson. Also in Michigan, officials said the Flint water is safe, but an investigative reporter found the test might have been fudged. We'll talk with that reporter live right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. A college student in New York, black, racially profiled. First of all, the video is amazing. This stuff don't happen to white people. It just doesn't. This is what it means to be black in America. Wait till we show you the video of what happened in New York. Also, the folks at Now This put together this amazing mashup of comments that Fox News had to say about President Barack Obama. Oh, and wait till we play it for you. Just imagine if they said those things about Donald Trump. You will get an absolute laugh out of the stuff you hear compared to the praise and adulation they give the orange one today. Also, Time Magazine's out with their 100 list, the Time 100 list, and a number of African Americans are honored, including Desmond Meade, the brother behind Amendment 4 in Florida, granting voting rights to the formerly incarcerated. Also, black workers got an average weekly raise of less than $1 a year over the last 12, lower than any other group. But y'all know the Trump people keep saying black folks should just be happy because unemployment is so low. Let's talk about those wages. And also, Nipsey Hussle created more than 40,000 jobs. A person online put together this financial impact of Nipsey Hussle, and it was an amazing breakdown. We'll show it for you. And also, why are Republicans in Kentucky scared of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? One of them invited her to come talk to coal workers, and then he thought she was going to say no. Then she said yes. Now he's trying to move the goalpost. Oh, I can't wait to break this whole thing down for y'all. And then a fellow Republican in Kentucky even admitted she's really smart. Like really, really smart. So we might want to be careful. Oh my God. Just call today's show The Laughing Show. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the best, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
All right, of course, not that many black people in the Trump administration, and so they really are targeting race as much as they can. And so the Department of Education, they're targeting universities who use race as a factor in admissions. And so in agreement with the Trump administration, folks at Texas Tech Medical School resolved a complaint filed by an anti-affirmative action organization. They announced they will no longer be using race to factor in when it comes to admissions. What the hell? The National Medical Association, the largest organization of African-American doctors, they obviously say that's BS. Joining us right now is Dr. Neva Lubin Johnson, president of the National Medical Association. Doc, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Roland. How are you doing this evening?
Doing good. So just your thoughts about this decision not to use race in admissions in the Texas Tech Medical School.
Well, Roland, we find this decision, my new favorite word with this administration is deplorable. And so I'm using it once again for one of their actions. I feel like that they drank the Kool-Aid because they voluntarily chose to do this. What's remarkable is that this is your home state of Texas, where there are, more persons of color almost than not. And so for a university health sciences system to make this decision is just mind-boggling. Texas Tech Health Sciences has 5 health professional schools, and they will no longer use race in admissions for those schools.
Now, again, first of all, Texas Tech, way the hell out in West Texas. So it's not like it's in one of the urban centers, but it's not like we have a whole lot of black doctors in the first place.
That's correct. I mean, we are, 13, 14, 15% of the population, but we're maybe 4 to 5% of the physicians in the country. And let's face it, I, along with many others, don't look at affirmative action or, considering race as being something, that's a plus. I really consider it as something that's for, payback for what we've gone through, a means of reparations almost. And so this decision by them to eliminate race as one of those criteria is very disturbing.
All right, let's talk about this whole issue with the measles. Of course, pretty much it was eradicated more than 2 decades ago. Now we're seeing this dramatic response, about 600 cases every single, about 600 cases, more and more each week. You got folks declaring public health disaster. All of this because of these anti-vaccine people. And this is largely led by white folks, okay? Black folks are getting their kids immunized. And this whole fear against autism and things along those lines. And, I mean, really, these people have no idea what they are doing to public health in America.
Roland, measles is one of the most contagious illnesses that there is. One person being exposed could lead to 90 people being infected. It's an airborne disease, and it's very serious if someone who's unvaccinated gets it. Children end up with serious complications if they're unvaccinated 5% of the time. That's a lot. And adults can have problems too if they run up against an infection and they have no immunity for it.
And the problem is you don't even know if somebody is vaccinated or not, and they're walking around, getting on planes, going to concerts, going to movies, and you have no idea.
Definitely, you have no idea. And the thing about getting measles is that you start being symptomatic 4 days before you get a rash. So can you imagine that, being around, everybody you're around, planes, trains, automobiles, shopping malls, whatever, and they could be incubating the illness. You don't know if they've had a vaccine and you've been exposed. And it's really dangerous for, babies and children who haven't received those 2 doses of measles vaccine.
Now, I thought it was mandatory. And so is it not mandatory, or is it simply recommended?
It is. I mean, for school-age children now, across the country, it is mandatory unless you have a religious objection. And states are really cracking down on even you documenting and saying you have a religious objection. And so, but still, for children, infants, those 2 vaccinations aren't given until 18 months of age. And so someone who's unvaccinated comes around an infant and toddler who hasn't been completely vaccinated yet, you're exposing them to an illness they don't have an immune system for. Very dangerous.
All right. Dr. Neva Lewin-Johnson, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you, Roland. Have a good evening and a good rest of the show.
All right, thanks a bunch. All right, folks, let's go to our panel here, talk about this craziness. Eugene Craig, CEO, Eugene Craig Organization. Also, we have Johanna LeBlanc, National Security and Foreign Affairs Legal Analyst, Robert Patillo, Civil Rights Attorney. White folks are causing this problem, Robert. Let's just cut to the chase, all right? This is a white folks thing.
Well, this is what happens when internet conspiracies go too far. We think the flat Earth people are, goofy and funny. We think that the Pizzagate people are a joke, but the anti-vaxxers are right along with that. People who reject medical science, who reject common sense. And this is how pandemics get started. When you bring a foreign disease into a population which has no natural immunity against it. So it's very important for us to spread public health and scientific knowledge, not simply internet conspiracy and rumors, because by doing so, you put the entire public at risk.
And look, I totally understand the concern, the parents who've had kids with autism. But the reality is we still don't know what causes autism. You have these people who say, oh, it has to be the vaccine. Some have said that, look, their children were fine before they got vaccinated and then something happened afterwards. But they're putting other people's lives at risk with this. That's what's crazy to me. Anyone of y'all can jump in. Hey, anytime.
But the thing is this, we know it's irrefutable that vaccines save lives. We were looking at the eradication of measles, the eradication of polio, the eradication of a lot of diseases that are now making comebacks because people are being stupid and not getting their kids immunized.
But you got adults who are walking around.
Yeah.
Who all of a sudden go, damn, my parents didn't get me vaccinated.
And I think we need to figure out a solution to, I guess, vaccinate later in life. I mean, if you go to college and plan on living on campus, they won't give you housing unless you have been vaccinated for things like measles. But it's a public health crisis. I know New York has declared a public health crisis, and a couple other cities are declaring public health crises. But it's a mess.
Just as my co-panelist indicated a few minutes ago, I think the skepticism that exists, it's okay to be skeptical, but as long as your skepticism is rooted from facts, from factual science to support it, right? And that's not the case here. It's just people who just don't believe that vaccination will solve any of their illnesses. And like you said, Roland, it's dangerous because these people are flying, they're going to concerts, they're going to movies, and they're sick, and it's very contagious.
You've got judges releasing orders saying, having a rule, ruling against cities that are saying, no, you can't go into public spaces. Mm-hmm. I mean, cities have to protect the public.
But then again, you also have the religious exemption, as Dr. Johnson indicated. So sometimes I understand that there are people, just because they don't want to take the vaccination, they would just claim the religious exemption. But is it truly, are they really not taking the vaccination because there's a religious purpose behind it, or just because they don't want to do it? That's the question.
If you claim a religious exemption, I think I'm all for the First Amendment.
Absolutely.
And fully. But I think that's...
Well, it better be established that that's your religion.
There has to be some responsibility. If you claim religious exemption, and that's the actual practices and teachings of your religion, if there happens to be some kind of negative outcome from that affects and harms other people, then I think that particular church needs to cover the cost.
Robert?
Well, it's interesting, but because you will really think that black folks will be leading the anti-vaxxer thing, going through the Tuskegee experience, going through all the stuff the government has done, dropping crack into our communities and everything else. You would think we'd be the people who are the anti-vaxxers. But on the court part of it, there's going to be something that bubbles up to the Supreme Court on to whether or not the United States government has the ability in the Constitution to mandate that people take a vaccine. Can the government mandate to inject something in your body that has not been decided by the Supreme Court yet? And that's what's going to be the dispositive voice on this.
Well, one of the things, again, that is crazy to me in terms of how this whole thing is happening here. I do want to ask y'all about this here. So obviously, all this response to Notre Dame, church being catching on fire. Now Donald Trump is saying he's going to personally donate. Am I the only one noticed these Republicans ain't said a damn thing about the black churches burning down?
Not
3 black churches burned in Louisiana.
Damn thing.
And all the comments about what's happening in France. How about y'all pay attention to churches in America?
I mean,
anyone?
Noted that God bless the French folk. It was a tragic accident. It is an accident. It wasn't something like what happened in Louisiana where it was intentional.
Right. Here you have the son of a deputy sheriff, white supremacist, burns 3 churches down. Nothing. Glenn Beck, trying to blame Muslims for what took place. Dinesh D'Souza, all of these people out here, nothing. But I'm just saying, it's really interesting. These Republicans spend lots of time talking about churches burning in France and in Europe, but ignore the United States.
And
a red state, Louisiana.
The more interesting thing about that is that while Notre Dame was burning, there was actually the third most important Muslim mosque was on fire as well. And you saw zero coverage of it. You heard zero empathy in regards to the situation. But the thing is this. We have black churches that have been burned for centuries. Literally burned for centuries. You know, are they Notre Dame? No, but are they just as important, if not more important, to the black community? Absolutely. And, you know, if $1.1 billion can be raised in 24 hours to rebuild Notre Dame, that same amount of funding can be raised to rebuild a lot of these black churches.
Well, first of all, what you have is you had a GoFundMe started. They're up to about they're approaching 1.8 million. That's what they wanted to raise for it. But again, what gets me is no comment at all. Okay, from Trump, from most of these Republicans, nothing when a white supremacist, the son of a deputy sheriff, is arrested for burning 3 black churches.
Well, it comes down to a question of values and how we, on both the local, national, and international.
Hold on. But I thought Michelle Bachmann said that Trump is the most Bible-believing, God-fearing president we've ever seen. I guess black churches don't count.
It goes so much deeper than Trump. Let's understand that. You're talking about Notre Dame, which burned down, full of a bunch of artifacts stolen from the Middle East and from Africa. You're talking about a nation of France, which still took $25 billion in colonial debt from Haiti. Still is taking colonial debt from Angola and their other colonial assets. The reason they have all this money to put towards their little cathedral, church, building, wherever it is because all the money they stole from the African world and around the earth. So if you want me to have tears for Notre Dame and tears for your stained glass and all that stuff, give the money back to Haiti. Give the money back to Africa. And as a matter of fact, let's understand something that has to be said that people aren't saying. Y'all just mysteriously moved all the paintings, all the artifacts, the crown of thorns out of Notre Dame right before it burned down, and now you're saying that all the really important stuff didn't burn up in the fire? But that's just convenient as hell, ain't it? Like, I wish my house would burn down right after I moved all the stuff out of it. It seems very convenient for that to happen. So I ain't saying what happened.
Now you about to be one of conspiracy theorists along with Glenn Beck and the rest of them.
But if I moved all my stuff out of my house and then told the insurance company, I moved all my stuff out, then the house burned down, what do you think the insurance company's going to tell me?
Johanna?
My thoughts and prayers are with all who are impacted by the burning down of Notre Dame. But however, the facts are the facts, right? Notre Dame is a symbol of slavery and colonialism, right? So that is just a reality, right? But what disappoints me is the outrage, right? And all the donation that are coming in because Notre Dame is burned down. But right here in our own communities, we have churches burning all the time due to white nationalists, right? And racist. To be frank, but where are those tears, right? And again, I'm not saying that we're not supposed to feel about what happened with Notre Dame. We're not supposed to reach out. We're not supposed to send out our letters of pain and sorrow. But what I'm saying is that as a society, what do we really value, right? Is Notre Dame is Notre Dame more valuable than the black churches here in America that have been burned down by white nationalists?
Henry, go to my iPad, please. And so, again, the GoFundMe campaign for those black churches, the total goal is $1.8 million. They've raised so far $1.5 million. 28,155 people have donated to that particular cause. Again, there were 3 historically black churches that were burned down in the St. Landry Parish in Louisiana. So if you go to GoFundMe, just type in 7th District Baptist Church Fires St. Landry, and you'll actually see this GoFundMe as well. And so Keenan, who's my digital guy, Keenan, go ahead and tweet out and put it on all the social media platforms, the GoFundMe campaign for those churches. But it would be nice if the so-called greatest Christian we've seen in Michelle Bachmann's entire lifetime could say something about black churches in America. I thought you wanted to make America great again. Louisiana, red state. They voted for you, Trump, but then again, they're black churches. So probably we'll hear nothing. Just saying. Speaking of hearing nothing from this administration, let's talk about Flint. Although they've gotten the all clear for the water in Flint, that is not necessarily the case, according to an investigative reporter. Now, Michigan, they've finally gotten $77.7 million to Flint for water infrastructure improvements. They have been waiting for this for quite some time, and it's not any new money. It was part of a $120 million package that was first passed by Congress in 2016. They're finally getting it. Flint, though, will need another $300 million over the next 20 years to deal with the water crisis there. We're now in year 5 of this, folks, in year 5. Now, it was 2 years ago when officials there said that the water in Flint was safe. A new documentary called Flushing Flint raises questions on how those tests were conducted. Joining us right now is Jordan Charlton, the investigative reporter in the documentary. Jordan, glad to have you in Roland Martin Unfiltered. You say that the analysis that was done saying the water was clean in Flint was flat out wrong.
Yeah, so I've been to Flint many times reporting, and last summer I started knocking on doors based on sourcing that told me the official state testing program that was used to declare the water safe, the testing that was done had a lot of improper testing going on. So I started knocking on doors of residents that were on the official state testing program, and what I found was state officials in the environmental agency, Michigan Department of Environmental Agents Quality, were going into homes and actually running residents' water, in some cases for 5 to 10 minutes, before taking lead and copper samples. That's called flushing, and it's against the EPA's main drinking water regulation, because if you run the water even for 30 seconds to a minute, you could be flushing out high qualities of lead. So we continued in Flint for 3 weeks over the summer, and then we went back in the fall. My partner and I knocked on nearly 500 doors, and we found these examples of flushing in dozens of homes in Flint.
And we're going to right now share an excerpt from the documentary, and we'll come back to you, Jordan, in just 1 second. Guys, go ahead and play that.
I'm a journalist. I'm just asking residents on this block if the state ever came to test your water.
They told me they needed to go to the kitchen sink. That's where they went. They turned the water on, let it run for, like I said, like a minute, and collected their sample.
Your results are interesting because 15 parts per billion is the limit. So them telling you to let the water run for that long, that's probably why you were getting such low results.
When they did it, do you remember if they turned the water on and took the sample right away, or did they let it run first?
They let it run a while.
They showed up at my door and they handed me a pamphlet and said, okay, it's safe to bathe in, before they even went in my house.
Have you had any problems health-wise since the water switch?
Itching, breaking down, stuff like that.
My teeth, yeah, so.
And I've had pneumonia.
Our skin and our hair.
I've been getting a lot of boils.
Go ahead, get it. Right. Bro, I'm telling you. And I get them like, just bro. And they were worse.
My daughter did have a miscarriage.
He was at Heritage Manor. Went to McLaren, where they had the Legionnaires. My father is dead. They want us out of here. They want to make it a college town, and we are not a fool. We know it. Go up and down the street. Look over there. We have a forest in the dadgum city.
We can't drink our water. We can't go outside and play. We ain't got no parks.
They're just going in, people who don't know EPA regulations, people that are older, people that are younger, people that are poor, whatever. And they're just right in front of them, cheating to try and get a lower number. So who the hell knows what the real numbers are? You always hear that talking point, well, like 3,000 other cities have worse numbers than Flint. I think what we're getting at here is we probably don't know the real lead levels in Flint because they've been flushing out the lead before they test.
All right, Jordan, so you also have some news to report for us.
Yeah, last night, Governor Whitmer, who took office in January, actually confirmed our reporting. She was on a panel with Flint residents talking about, regaining the trust in Flint. And she actually referenced our reporting and said that the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality had run the water before taking samples. And just to break it down in non-scientific terms, it's essentially just cooking the data. And this happened under the former governor's administration. So we only knocked on 450 doors. We're not funded to be out there for months. So it could be that it was more widespread, but we did find this in dozens of homes, which definitely raises questions about the declarations that were made by now former Governor Snyder that the water is safe to drink and restored. And you'll see in the documentary, I mean, people, it's not like 5 years ago. People are still currently getting rashes from that water, losing hair. I saw a 1-year-old African-American baby. The family had just moved into the home that month. She had white blisters all over her legs and arms, which you'll see in the documentary. So unfortunately, the media, as you know, doesn't like to cover things if it's not Trump and Russia related. But I would say the declarations that the water is safe and the decision based on that to shut down the water pods is highly questionable.
So when is documentary going to air and where?
Tuesday, April 23rd. It'll be available at flushingflint.com.
All right, then. Jordan, we appreciate it, man. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, Roland.
All right, go to our panel here. The fact that it's 5 years later and this is still a problem is an indictment against this nation. It's an indictment against Snyder, who was the governor, and an indictment right now against his administration for not giving a damn about Flint.
It's an indictment against the former administration also. Remember that it was May of 2016 that President Obama held up a glass of Flint tap water, drank it, and declared it safe to drink. How many people following his lead drank that Flint tap water? We can't. This is a governmental issue. This is environmental racism. This is lead in the water supply. This is paint. This is brownfields. This is all the things that this government does, deeper than any one particular administration, to keep down and to dump poison into black communities and black neighborhoods, and no one cares. If this was in Martha's Vineyard, it would have been fixed in 6 weeks. Because it's Flint, Michigan, it takes 6 years.
It would have been 6 weeks.
I think the funds are to be released now is long overdue. The most galling aspect of this is the willful, if not deliberate, act by public officials allowing people to drink the water knowing that it is contaminated. And as we know, the effects of drinking water with lead in it will cause irreversible damages to the brain, to the way you think, and just to your well-being. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes to environmental racism, it is an issue in the black community. It exists, and it's a civil rights issue that, as members of society, we have to bring it to the forefront, right? But when you are trying to survive every day, right, you're trying to dodge bullets, you're trying to not get killed when you get stopped by the police officer, then environmental racism is not the first thing on your priority, which is why people are saying, why isn't it that environmental racism is an issue that black folks talk about all the time? Well, we do. It's just that we have so many other issues within our community that we have to work on that environmental racism sometimes tends to be at the very bottom.
Eugene.
The thing is this. We as a country have a $4 trillion per year budget. We just gave $12 billion in reparations to farmers that were hurt by the Trump administration's trade
Largely
policies.
white farmers.
Largely white farmers. Mm-hmm. Democrats now control Congress. For the last couple of years...
No, I control the House.
Well, they control the House, but they have budgetary control. Mm-hmm. For the last couple of years, they've been shut out. I think part of this year's budget that comes to the Appropriations Committee, there needs to... That $300 million shouldn't have to wait for 20 years. You could put it on the table now. You could put all that cash on the table now.
But here's the deal, though. Even if Democrats pass it, it still has to go to the Senate.
Well, and then it'll come back to conference committee, and you negotiate.
Well, that's if Mitch McConnell has the guts to actually bring it up.
Well,
and he's shown. I mean, look, you got to fight right now in the Senate over the whole issue of funding for relief disaster because Trump only wants to have $600 million for nutritional for Puerto Rico. But Democrats are saying no. We need one more for infrastructure, and he doesn't want to do it, and McConnell's unsure what to do next.
And the thing is this, we've had government shutdowns over all type of petty stuff. I think, if, an impasse does happen, at least to a government shutdown over funding, I think, it is a noble situation to shut the government down over black and brown issues.
This to me is why Dr. King had wanted the Poor People's Campaign in 1968 to bring them to the nation's capital. This is where, this is the only way these folks are going to listen if you have mass action against politicians who do nothing, Robert.
Yeah, and I think it's crucial also. We got 20 folks running for president on the Democratic side of the aisle. Shouldn't one of them think they can walk into South Carolina and get the black vote without having a clearly articulated message, policy proposals, not pie in the sky, we're going to help everybody. What are you going to do to solve environmental racism? Places like Flint, every time you see a black neighborhood that's under power lines, and then you wonder why the cancer rate is triple there than it is anywhere else in the community. We have to hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah, but you also have people who are moderating these town halls don't really give a damn about these very issues. That's part of the problem because you don't get these questions that are being raised.
Environmental racism is definitely not the first priority for this administration, and I don't think the previous administration either, just to be honest. And the Supreme Court has made it even more difficult to even prove environmental racism. You almost, if you're going to sue an entity or an organization for environmental racism, you almost have to find a memo on the desk of the CEO saying that we are doing this specifically to target this group of people. They have made it extremely difficult, the Supreme Court, which is why we have to pay attention who gets appointed to the Supreme Court.
I got you. Hey, folks, black people are always saying that they never get called about polls. Monmouth dropped their new poll. Actually, I got called on this one. Their national poll, Donald Trump, his approval rating is 40%, down 4 points from March. Disapproval, 54%, up 3 points. Approved, disapproved by party. 83-13 Republican, Independents 40-49, Democrats 7-92. Now, first of all, I'm trying to understand this poll. So are they saying that they approve of Republicans 83-13 and disapprove of Democrats 92-7? Not quite sure, but the Trump approval numbers are real clear.
He's in trouble. If he loses 13% of Republicans, and we're not even in a full election cycle where that power can go up to 20%, that's real electoral trouble right there.
What?
I said if he's losing 13% of Republicans now,
right?
And we're not even, we haven't hit 2020 yet. That could very well go up to 20%, maybe 25%, depending on a Bill Weld or a Larry Hogan that gets into a race.
And to have independents at 49 disapprove, 40 approve, that's also a critical issue. And look, he's also down, John. He's down in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, double digits.
Yep.
Here's my position on this, right? Yes, the numbers do count, but let's go back when President Trump ran for the presidency. The numbers that media showed us showed that he was not going to win. There was no hope. So I think that people.
No. Hold up. No. This is what was shown. This is what I said for 60 days.
Okay.
Polling data is based upon past markers, who voted in the past. No poll can predict a dramatic increase of voters who had not voted before. What happened was, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, North Carolina, in Florida, places, you had white folks who had not voted ever, or in 10, 15, or 20 years. In rural areas, there was a dramatic increase in the request for absentee balloting. And so you had, look, he won Ohio by 450,000 votes. No polling data. Hillary Clinton was in Ohio 3 days before, the weekend before the election, with her rally with Beyonce and Jay-Z. She was there with LeBron James as well. No campaign person puts the candidate in a state that you're going to lose by 450,000 votes. And so the reality is the polling data could not predict, one, an increase in white voters. We also saw a 2.4% decrease in black voters. And then they also could not predict the voter suppression in Wisconsin, where upwards of 200,000 people were impacted by voter ID.
Well, the argument I'm trying to make is that don't be so quick to say we don't need to go out and vote because
who the hell said that?
Not you, but there are people they will look at those.
Oh no! You'll never hear that.
Not you, right?
And the reason Andrew Gillum lost is because there were people who got comfortable in the last 48 hours because the polling showed that he was up anywhere from 4 to 8 points.
So that's the comment that I want to make. Don't get comfortable because of those numbers. We need to be vigilant. We need to be aware. We need to go out and vote in mass numbers.
Robert,
I think. Basically, a big part of what she was saying, I think we have to piggyback on that and understand. Look at Bill Clinton's numbers in 1995 heading into the 1996 election. His numbers were right about where Trump was, bouncing between 40 and 46%. He was coming off of scandals. He was coming off of investigations, Whitewater, the land deal. And what he was able to do was take a fractured Republican field. People weren't really that behind Dole. And then he was able to keep pushing his message, co-opting Republican messaging in order to push it to the finish line. So when people look at these numbers saying, well, Trump is in trouble, just look at the numbers from 96 and you realize that Trump could still pull this out, particularly when you have the circular firing squad in the Democratic primary trying to kill each other.
I'll say it right here. There's no way Trump pulls this out. Trump had a miracle in 2016.
He ran against the perfect person he could beat, who was hated. I told you the story of being in a bar in Chicago with his white guys like, okay, I don't like Trump, I don't like Clinton. I said, man, look, pull a sheet of paper out, write down your top 10 issues. Clinton had 7 checks, Trump had 3. He goes, I just can't vote for her. He just could not vote for Hillary Clinton. But my next story.
The thing is this: you're not going to ever see another situation where somebody wins Michigan by 10,000 votes, Wisconsin by 20,000 with voter suppression, and Pennsylvania by roughly 60,000. It's never going to happen again. Like, this literally was a miracle, election.
me and Eugene gonna have to put money on this.
I'll put $100. I'll put $1,000 on it.
All right, you put my grand down for me also. But I think that I think when you underestimate Trump and the Trump machine, and also the amount of people that are going to lie to pollsters, that you really do give him the advantage. I think.
All right, I'm not underestimating anything. What I'm simply saying is, here are the numbers. Of course, this is a poll he's not going to tweet out. It's a poll Lou Dowd is probably going to screw up and get wrong again on Fox News. But this is where, on the Democratic side, you put your foot on the neck and you say, no, you go even harder to be sure that you're going to get people to turn out, mobilize, organize to win in 2020.
And that makes perfect sense unless the Democrats decide to nominate Bernie or nominate one of these other fringe candidates who's going to give him the election.
Here's the deal. Bottom line is we don't know because haven't had the first primary yet, haven't had the first debate yet, so we'll see what happens. All right, folks, we've seen this story before. A black man accosted by police. Oh, yeah. Not going to happen to white folks. Security at Columbia University in New York City detained and restrained a Columbia student at Barnard College. Now, Barnard is a women's college affiliated with Columbia. They are allowed to actually use their library. Alexander McNabb is a Columbia student. He was looking to eat at Barnard. Columbia students are allowed to use Barnard facilities, I guess, unless you're black.
You have no reason. You have no right to touch me. Take your hands off me. You gotta take your hands off me. You gotta take your hands off me. Take your hands off me. Take your body off me. I did not touch anybody. I didn't violate anybody. Why are your hands off me? Take your hands off of me. Take your hands off of me. Why are you touching me? Take your hands off of me. Let's walk outside. Let me show you my ID. You want to see my ID? Yeah. I'm a Columbia University student. You see this? That's me. This is the third time Barnard Public Safety has chased me down. Walk outside. And you put your hands on me. I didn't touch any of you. Not to be ashamed of yourself. Walk outside. I'm not walking outside. I'm a Columbia University student. You saw my ID. Give me my ID back. I'm going to hold on to your ID. No, I need my ID. I'm going to hold on to your ID. Give me my ID back, sir. Excuse me. Hold on. Excuse me. This is my ID. I'm going to back. Walk outside. No, we're not talking outside. Come on. No, because you don't want to make a scene. You're talking right here. You want to talk to me right here. I'm a Columbia University student. I have a right to be in this building. Okay, we're going to find out if you're a student. You saw my ID. What else do you need to see? Well, let's see if you're an active student. You see my ID right now. Right. Scan your thing. I'm a student here. This is ridiculous. You put your hands on me.
A school is hiring an independent investigator to look at the incident. Officers involved and their supervisor have been placed on administrative leave. There are a number of white students who said that they have walked in that facility, have never been checked for ID. But the brother, he's been checked. This is what it means when you're black. Johnny, go ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you're black in America and things like this happen, you always have to wonder, did my race play a role in it?
Hell yes. Hell yes. When a white dude and 4 cops show up, including somebody's black, hell yes. And not only that, he's going to check the ID. If I got an ID, first of all, I ain't been to college in a while, but the damn ID has a date on it. It has a semester on it. So to say I'm looking at it, but let me go check, what, he's got a counterfeit ID? Really? Really?
Well, I also on that point, same thing happened to me in law school one time. You're sitting there, you got a hoodie on, you're studying for finals, and next thing you know, there's 3 cops around you. One, well, if you're a white cop, please stop going with the bald-headed look. Like, you got to stop shaving your head, because it looks like 4 skinheads dragging a black guy off. Not a good look to start with. But also, schools have to work on this. They have to work on sensitivity training. They have to work on diversity training.
Oh, but here's the deal. Check everybody's ID. Yeah. It's real simple. No. This is the way you do it. Yeah. Check everybody's ID, but you can't be black. Yeah. You sit there and go, white person, white person, white person, white person. Oh, Negro, show me your ID, please.
But it hits a secondary issue, which is, what is diversity like at your school? That a black person raises enough suspicion that 5 cops show up. How many black folks do you actually have walking around this institution where this person is such an outlier that it merits a police response?
You know what?
Address that.
That ain't just your school. You can be white, and there's a whole bunch of black people around, and you still gonna check somebody black.
The issue is...
The thing is this, Skip Gates, the renowned, professor at Harvard University, dealt with this exact same thing that led to a beer summit. I mean, this is something that is systemic among, in academia. This is something that's systemic among, particularly in the Ivy space of academia. I do think that, there's something that has to be dealt with. Maybe these colleges need to start getting sued to get their endowments hit. I don't know what it's going to take, but, it has to stop.
Another element of this is that as a person of color, you're just not expected to be in certain places.
No, not a person of color, black.
So therefore,
not a person of color, black.
They take Indians and Asians.
So when you're black, when you're a person of color, there are certain spaces that you're not expecting.
Black.
I don't say a person of color.
Black.
Martin.
No. As black people, we need to sometimes stop this person of color stuff. No, this is black.
Asians don't deal with this.
They people of color.
Indians and Pakistanis don't deal with this. But black people deal with it.
That's why we got to be specific. Black.
And Mexican.
Black.
They'll drag your Mexican ass out, too.
Yeah, okay. That's ICE. That wasn't ICE. Sorry, y'all. Video news website Now This took some complaints Fox News had about President Barack Obama, and they asked, what if Fox News covered Donald Trump the same way they covered Obama? Okay, I need to prepare y'all right now for absolute laughter. Okay, so if you got any issues, you might pee on yourself, turn away. But I'm telling y'all right now, this is utterly hilarious. Press play.
What is wrong with this president? How dumb is he?
The purpose of a journalist is to hold people in power accountable.
Now, we're going to vet the president. We're going to talk about his vacation, his golfing.
2 golf outings for the president cost $2.9 million. That alone is amazing.
Should a president, the leader of the free world, be on a social network tweeting?
No.
He's kind of a celebrity president. He's kind of like Ryan Seacrest.
This is a president who does not really know what he wants to do. He simply wants to be popular with everybody, every audience before which he stands.
The president seems almost obsessed with cable TV, or am I wrong?
This is a president who rules by executive authority, executive action.
When he's not doing executive actions, he's out on the golf course.
The president heads to Florida for a boys' weekend of golf.
Yes, this president is the beneficiary of the vision and the action of his predecessor.
The rule used to be a sitting president doesn't criticize his predecessor, especially by name.
Has any president in your lifetime taken on this kind of tone, this kind of harshness, either towards his predecessor or towards a single media outlet? I have never seen this before.
Without the teleprompter, the president doesn't know exactly what to do correctly.
The president's budget that he gave today, all right, doesn't cut any deficit. It increases the debt.
For the man who said we have to get our deficit under control, he's not doing it. It's like golf, Mr. President. You play a lot of that.
He's certainly not acting like the most transparent president in history, is he, Juan?
What's in those records that you don't want us to know about?
Once again, he's pandering to the worst regimes and thugs and dictators.
This is a president that is acting like a dictator. This is a president who is ignoring the rule of law and siding with lawbreakers.
This is a president now who's demonstrated that he will lie to push through a program.
Once the president tweets it, then it becomes canon. Oh, that's a fact. The president says it's a fact. He's in love with campaigning. He's going to fundraisers tonight.
He achieved that significant accomplishment earlier today while vacationing in Florida on your dime.
This president and the people around him are convinced that God has anointed him to fix everything in one fell swoop. That's not how American politics work. That's not how life works.
This is a president who has become known, I think, to the public as a blamer.
He never makes any concessions. He always treats his opponents as though they're enemies.
We have a president who can never admit he's wrong. He's so insecure and vain at the same time. He doesn't realize that the president has that power to set a tone and other people follow it.
What he's really trying to do is to divide the country and to get his people to turn out to vote.
He simply doesn't like being mocked. Maybe he's a little thin-skinned.
I've been saying, Mr. President, put your pants on, sit at the table, man up.
Skip the trash talk. It only diminishes the office of the president.
If you want to work with somebody, you don't call them names.
This is a very quick and easy, cheap way to score political points, but it's a terrible, corrosive way for a president of the United States to govern a country.
Why don't you talk in an aspirational way to people and be more positive and more uplifting?
Mr. President, you need to stop acting like a schoolyard bully and start acting like the leader of the free world.
Mr. President, everyone is laughing at us. You're like a schoolyard bully. No one's afraid of you. Putin sure as hell isn't.
With all due respect, Mr. President, maybe it is time you stop looking at a TV tuned to Fox and looked in a mirror tuned to, I don't know, you.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. President, for watching tonight.
Now, the glaring double standard that exists here is nothing short of incredible.
I think Piero's going to spit out her gap filler. Remember when that happened on live television and it fell out her mouth? Hilarious. Google it. Trust me. It's hilarious. Eugene, truly embarrassing if you're Fox News.
Yeah, it is embarrassing. I mean, every last one of that, every second of that clip, of that video could be applied to Trump. And, you know, Fox News has embarrassed themselves. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of years. Because eventually advertisers are going to start pulling out. They're already pulling their dollars, but, you know, the pressure is mounting on them. You know, they're giving credence and credibility to folk like Dinesh D'Souza that are now, you know, comparing, you know, Representative Omar to terrorist sympathizers.
Well, the thing is, it's very simple. It's literally 180 degrees, and you got to feel stupid to see that video and go, wow, I'm sucking up to Trump, and nearly everything I said about Obama, I refuse to say about Donald Trump.
I think what we're seeing here with the media is part of
No, not the media. Fox News.
With Fox News sometimes, right? But other networks as well. I would disagree with that, Roland.
Fox News.
I think, well, Fox News and other networks, I think they play the partisan game.
What other networks?
Other networks such as CNN and other networks, they do play the partisan game.
There's no network that is a complete 180-degree turn than Fox News.
Perhaps not 180 degree, but I will say that
like what, 90, 45?
Media outlets do play the partisan game. And
No. We're not discussing partisan game. What we're discussing is literally criticizing Obama about playing golf and saying nothing
about Trump
when Trump does it. Criticizing Obama saying dictator. He loves hanging with dictators. Trump praises dictators, Robert.
Well, look, you can
like praise.
Look, exactly.
Like my friend, my boy, my lover. I mean, he praises the North Korea leader.
But look, just as she said, you can pull the same picture of Obama sitting there with Castro holding hands at a baseball game. And you don't see anything from CNN or from MSNBC or all the late night shows.
Never discussed it?
They did not discuss it the way they talk about Trump with Kim Jong-un. They criticized Trump for everything he does.
What photo of Obama holding hands with Castro?
There's a photo of Obama and Raul Castro holding his hand up like this.
No, you mean when they were at the Organization of American States, when Obama shook his hand and then Castro lifted his hand, and Obama did not want to embarrass himself in the country by jerking his hand back?
He shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been down there meeting with Castro.
No, that's not true. No, I'm sorry. No, Robert. He was not meeting with Castro. It was the Organization of American States. It was those entities that are part of the Western Hemisphere.
Exactly. He
should have been there.
But he was down there shaking hands, giving legitimacy to a dictator.
No, he was actually doing no. That's not what that was.
If that's the case, why does Trump meet with Kim Jong-un? Why does Trump meet with the Saudis, who by all means is a dictatorship?
And why did Fox News criticize Obama for saying, why are you meeting with our sworn enemies? And this dude literally praises and lavishes dictators.
He loves
just saying.
The reason is because the media is biased. Amazingly.
Ain't got nothing to do with it. Bullshit. Go ahead.
I agree with my co-panelists. I really do think the media is biased. Regardless how you feel about Donald Trump or former President Barack Obama, the media is biased. Point, period, blank.
Regarding what?
There is no media bias when it comes to facts.
Right. No. Explain to me this. Fox News literally says, how dare you want to meet with the leaders of Iran? How dare you want to meet with Castro or Venezuela leader? Over here, Trump sucks up to Putin, sucks up to North Korean leader, sucks up to the guy in the Philippines. And what do they say? Oh, my goodness, he's strong. That's a leader. Seriously? Seriously,
that's media bias.
But look, at the same time, you can pull for every clip you can pull of Trump, you can pull another clip of Obama doing pretty much the same thing.
No, you can't.
It's an American.
No, you can't.
A party issue.
No, you cannot. First of all, let's be clear. Obama criticized Fox News, wasn't afraid to go on. Did interviews with Bill O'Reilly. Did interviews with others. Trump, last time he sat down with MSNBC and CNN. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait.
I'm going to have that information for you, but I want to make another point.
Where is it?
I want to make another point. The media does a really good job at highlighting everything that President Trump does. You know why? Because Trump is good for TV, regardless how you feel about Trump.
I'm fully aware of that.
There are a lot of shows that are on air today because of Trump's presidency.
I'm fully aware of that. But what I'm telling you is, when you have a network that sucks up to anything Trump does, and they criticize Obama for wearing a tan suit,
but at the same
for wearing a helmet, riding a bike.
Think about this. This is the same network that praises Reagan. This is the same network that praises American conservative values. that is literally giving cover to Trump meeting with North Korea and lifting sanctions on North Korea. Giving Trump cover for lifting sanctions on Russia potentially. This is the same network. On one end, we have Newt Gingrich, rendezvous with destiny, Ronald Reagan, the legacy of Ronald Reagan, giving all types of cover to Donald Trump.
Beyond level. Final comment, go.
When President Obama said he would meet with North Korea with no preconditions, the entire media said he was insane.
No, you're wrong. The entire media didn't say that. There were people in the media who actually said that was fine.
The
entire media did not condemn it.
People saying that he was showing political naivete, and those same people.
Let me ask you a question: what's more dangerous, North Korea or Iran?
Well, Iran,
as it stands right now, what's more?
As it stands right now,
all right, you're a foreign policy expert. Which one is it?
It depends.
Okay, all right, okay, gotcha. This conversation depends.
There are different elements you have to look at.
Yeah, I got you. But then Trump is looking at any of those elements because he can't read. All right, y'all. Time 100. They recognize a variety of folks, of course, who do some great things. The 100 most influential people in the world. 19 black folks are on the list. We have pioneers: Marlon James, Chrissy Teigen, Fred Swaniker, Lynn Nottage, artist Dwayne Johnson, Regina King, Khaled, Mahershala Ali, Dream Hampton, icons Michelle Obama, Spike Lee, Caster Semenya, Titans LeBron James, Gayle King, Tiger Woods, and Pat McGrath. I'm not sure about this actual list. Leaders Cyril, Abiy Ahmad, Desmond Meade. Now, of course, we've been covering Desmond Meade for years. This is what Stacey Abrams wrote about him. Check the box and you lose the ability to secure a job, rent an apartment, or get a loan. The formerly incarcerated, returning citizens often face a cruel irony in America. Having paid their debt to society, too many are banned from the ballot box that could help them dismantle policy that essentially extend their sentences. She was, of course, praising Desmond Meade for what he did by, of course, leading the effort to get more than 1.4 million folks in Florida the right to vote. Even the Republicans there are doing their best to actually keep them from actually voting. That's what Republicans keep doing all across the country. Matter of fact, I was just reading a story today where in Missouri, guess what? The voters there actually passed an initiative to redraw districts. Republicans want to actually change the whole deal. Yeah. Same thing in Michigan and in Utah and North Carolina. What is it? I thought Republicans loved local rule, except when they don't like the results. Just saying. All right, folks. A lot of folks are still, of course, talking about the death of Nipsey Hussle. And there's a young sister, Simi W., who was a data journalist. And she wrote a story about all of Nipsey Hussle's investments in businesses' interests. Now, check this out. According to Simi, Hussle hired or impacted more than 40,000 people. And the projected value of his investments made between 2013 and 2019 was $210 million. $210 million. Guys, pull the graphic up on your end, please. And I mean, this is really interesting. You see this graphic here. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to zoom in on this to show you again the impact of this. So when you go in this particular graphic, what she says that people hired assisted impacted 41,369. He invested in Invest, a blockchain-based music app, launched Our Opportunity, a coalition dedicated to developing properties and revamping neighborhoods across multiple cities, part of a bid to acquire the Viceroy Santa Monica, a luxury resort. But his business partner tweeted that they actually have partners in the opening of a Virgin Resort there in Las Vegas. Co-founded a STEM Academy with plans to expand across 3 cities. Active role in establishing Destination Crenshaw, a 1.3-mile public art space honoring LA's Black heritage set to open in 2020. And then also introduced Proud to Pay model, earning an estimated $1.5 million in independent artists. The figure does not include merchandise or touring. Remember, he also owned all of his masters. Reopened World on Wheels, the roller rink initially damaged during the 1992 LA riots. Set up partnership with Fatburger, where employees wore uniforms branded with his clothing label's Crenshaw logo. And established Steve's Barbershop in honor of his friend and business partner who died from gun violence. In Puma and the Marathon Clothing set to launch in fall 2019, secured an ownership stake in Filecoin, an Amsterdam-based cryptocurrency platform. Total projected value of investments for community tech lifestyle ventures, $210,413,500. Also, there were a lot of people out there, including some celebrities, who were setting up GoFundMe accounts for his children. His family has put a kibosh on that, saying Hussle also took care of his kids by establishing trust, and they said those kids will be well taken care of for the rest of their lives. The sad part, folks, is that, again, 33 years old. He's dead due to gun violence. And all of this impact, all of these amazing things he was doing, frankly, goes to waste. Sure, he started those things, but not being able to see those things through and being able to have the capital to also to fund those things. That's why I keep saying we have to deal with this self-hate, we have to deal with this whole toxicity when it comes to another man calling you out, and then the only way to resolve differences is to actually get a gun and kill somebody.
And I think on that same point, it's really important that looking at this graph of hustle, let's figure out what it is in our hip-hop community, our mass culture community, where we can't celebrate that while he's still alive. Why is it every song has to be about drugs and violence and guns and women and cars? Why can't he just rap about all the businesses he's doing? And also, we need to support the people who are doing this while they're still alive. Killer Mike, David Banner, T.I., Ludacris are all doing ventures like this in their own communities. And it seems that we don't want to point them out or celebrate them until something tragic happens.
Actually, we do, but the reality is we also know why people love to watch mess as opposed to what's positive. Eugene?
Well, the thing is this. You know, as somebody that indulges in a lot of hip-hop media, the hip-hop community has actually, you know, spent a lot of time praising Nipsey while he was alive. It's more so Main Street gatekeepers. General public that, you know, may not have been necessarily aware of the things that Nipsey was doing. I mean, when Nipsey said, hey, look, you know, I'm going to sell my mixtape for $100, and Jay-Z comes in and buys, you know, 1,000 of them, you know, the support was there. But what he was working on with things like Vest, I mean, I have the app, and it literally gives artists opportunity to monetize their own work and to sell, you know, part of their ownership to you know, raise funds.
I think it's important that, you know, when some of us make it, right, we use some of that money to rebuild our communities, and that's what Nipsey, that's what this young man did. He used the money that he earned from the support of society to make his communities a much better place. And not only him, but there are countless others who are doing the same thing in our communities, like you, Roland Martin, giving us a platform to discuss our views.
And these things are important when it comes to getting paid and having wages. We'll talk about that next.
Absolutely.
Roll it. All right. Of course, the folks that asked me are sponsors of this particular segment, and Donald Trump loves to talk about low unemployment for black workers. The rate is at a historic low, but still nearly twice that of whites. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, wages have grown much slower for black workers. No shock. From the recession in 2007 to the first quarter of this year, all U.S. workers' wages are up 5.5%. Hispanic workers up 11.8%. All but black people, 1.6%. That comes out to less than $1 a week per year over 12 years. Various causes: racial discrimination, more black women than men working, women paid less than men. Also, lack of higher paying jobs near where black workers live. And so when you hear Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk and all those people running around talking about, oh, how black unemployment is so low, ask them about wages. Then when you ask them about this, ask them, why is it 1.6% compared to 5%, 11.8% for everybody else? It's amazing how we never want to talk about those things. Even when black unemployment is talked about, they're like, oh, historic low, still double that of white America. Those pesky thing called facts, or what people today call receipts. Just saying. Okay. Now, I told y'all how Republicans really crack me up. See, sometimes you should not write checks your mouth writes that your ass can't cash. So there was a Republican congressman in Kentucky who was not particularly happy with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And he dared to challenge her to say, your Green New Deal is going to negatively impact coal workers in Kentucky. So I want you to come to my district to meet with some of those coal workers so you can really see how it's going to impact them. There's a little problem there, Congressman Andy Barr. Ain't no coal workers in his district. Now, he gave her the invitation. He thought, Robert, she was going to say no. Ocasio-Cortez said, oh, yes, I will come to your district. There's a slight problem. Now he's scared. Now he wants her to apologize for criticism of Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw from Texas over the whole Congresswoman Ilhan Omar comments. And so he sent a letter and posted it on Twitter that I will rescind my invitation unless she apologizes to Crenshaw. Now, y'all, hold up. He invited her because of the Green New Deal. Now he has a precondition on coming to Kentucky as a result because she said yes. Could it be that Republicans are a little worried that Ocasio-Cortez is going to roll up in that joint and show up and show out? Here's a conversation we found of another Kentucky Republican on a Kentucky television show who said, watch it, that woman, she's smart as hell. We might not be able to handle her. Press play.
Omar and Crenshaw. Is it really, Congressman, this just a way for Andy Barr not have to bring Cortez to Kentucky?
Well, I like Andy, and I think his heart's in the right place. He's a defender of coal and really wants to try to bring people in that are against coal. But I don't see any upside to bringing Ocasio-Cortez in. I think...
Why not? I mean, okay, so here's, as a progressive in Kentucky, one of the things when I talk to people in New York City and places like that, they don't even really get coal miners. They don't realize that coal miners have been hurt by the ending of coal. Isn't it possible that you bring that woman here and she sees it and maybe she looks at it differently?
It's possible, but not likely. I think she's pretty set in her ways. I think she's very intelligent. I think a lot of Republicans are making a mistake picking on her. The other two freshman female legislators that are in the news a lot, Iliad and Omar, I think that's fair game for Republicans to pick on. But
stop. Who the hell is Iliad?
I think it's about Homer, maybe.
No. Who the hell is Iliad?
There is no Iliad.
Okay, Congressman Comer, Ilhan, and Omar, that's the same person. You might mean Talib from Detroit and Ilhan Omar. But there's no Iliad.
What you wanted to say was all.
Y'all press play.
But Ocasio-Cortez has a movement of millennials that follow her. Ocasio-Cortez is a lot more prepared when she comes to committee meetings, for example.
You said that to me that she's really smart.
She is smart. And I think that we need to be very prepared when we debate her on issues that we're having a hard time with. You know, there's still a future for coal, but we need to make sure that we're debating the right people on that issue.
Eugene, what he's saying is, it's a smart-ass woman from the Bronx. We dumb as hell down here. We playing with fire, inviting her because she comes prepared. She actually has receipts. She actually checks her facts. She might show our dumb Kentucky asses up.
These guys are so full of shit. It's crazy. So a couple points. First and foremost, Comer and Barr need to be more concerned with Crenshaw not sponsoring the 9/11 responders bill than they need to be with AOC's response to Dan Crenshaw in defense of Omar. Secondly, they may want to consult with their fellow member from Kentucky, Thomas Massey. You know, the whole situation with him and John Kerry aside, anybody knows anything about Thomas Massey, he's an MIT grad, now wait for it, that has a solar farm on his property that uses geothermal heating, that drives a Tesla 2 miles away and parks regularly on the Capitol grounds with, you know, in the Fed license plate tags. So, you know, I mean, I think he's right. You know, she's going to come down there and whoop their ass. And, you know, they don't want that embarrassment.
Bottom line, Johanna, real simple. They are afraid now because she said yes, that she's going to embarrass their asses. And they are afraid that those Kentucky folks might end up saying, damn, you know what? She right.
I think you hit on the nail, Roland Martin. I think you're absolutely correct. Ms. Cortez is a brilliant woman whom I think a lot of us inspired to be like, and she knows her stuff, and she understands the policy discussions. She does her research on the regular, so I think this particular member said, you know what, I invited her, but I think I may need to rescind that invitation.
And now you try to come up with this little fake little reason.
Exactly.
Robert, this is the reason why Fox News don't invite me. It's about the same thing. Well, this right here, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Martha McCallum, all of them. Tucker, it's like, nah, we ain't going to call that one. No, that's really what they're saying. We ain't gonna call that one.
Yeah.
Well, I think beyond the rhetoric point, I think this would be a great time for us to have adults running the country. Because instead of them arguing about who's going to say what, who's smarter than this, let's understand that the environmental impact of pollution has to be dealt with. And I don't care if it's a Green New Deal, a Red New Deal, a Purple New Deal. If you work in a coal mine and there's a way to not have you working in a coal mine and still make the same amount of money, let's do that. If there's a way to stop having fracking, to stop pouring sludge into our rivers, let's do that. And people in rural America, in red state America, if you depend on hunting and fishing and ranching and you have 100 acres of land, you want that land to be clean. So clearly both parties can work together. We just had people stop being so damn stupid for 5 minutes.
What you have here, and let's just be real honest, and this is the fear. If you saw Skip Gates' Reconstruction documentary on PBS, if you actually read W.B. Du Bois' book on Reconstruction, if you read Eric Foner's book on Reconstruction, if you read Manning Marable's book on the Second Reconstruction, if you read Reverend William Barber's book on us living in the Third Reconstruction, here's the reality. People in power who are white do not want poor whites to have knowledge. Let me say it again. White folks in power during Reconstruction, it was the plantation owners. They did not want freed slaves to connect with poor whites because guess what? If you actually study your history, the quality of life for poor whites got better as a result of Reconstruction. When black people went into state legislatures, they began to pass laws. They passed in the South publicly financed education. Poor whites started getting educated. And it was the rich white folks who said, no, we can't have this. The diversity in Congress as a result of Cortez, of Ayanna Pressley, Johanna Hayes, Ilhan Omar, Tlaib, and others, what it is doing, it is causing a different perspective of America. And you got these white Republicans who are going, now we don't want them rolling up talking to these poor white people because guess what? It's going to resonate. Why do you think Donald Trump is so angry at Fox News because of the Senator Bernie Sanders town hall? Because in that room in Pennsylvania, where guess what? Republicans, Democrats, independents, and what he was saying, they were cheering. When there was the town hall in West Virginia with Chris Hayes and MSNBC, all those white folks in there were like clapping every time Bernie said something, and I was hoping Chris Hayes would have said, stop, hold up. Y'all clapping on everything, so why in the hell did y'all vote for Donald Trump? Let me remind you, in Kentucky, they elected a Tea Party governor in 2016. Then they turned around and voted for Donald Trump. And a week after the election, they said, boy, I sure hope our Affordable Care Act not going to be tampered with, but damn it, that Obamacare got to go. It's the same thing. The real issue here is that Congressman Comer is smart. Andy Barr is an idiot. He didn't realize what he was doing. They don't want poor whites to get knowledge because their eyes will be open. This is why, and I was on the phone with him before I came on the show today, this is why Reverend William Barber continues to tell Democrats, stop being afraid of southern states. Go to Mississippi, go to Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Arkansas, West Virginia. Go to those places where broke white people are. Bring your message to them. Look them dead in their eye and tell them your health care sucks, your education sucks, your environment sucks, all these things suck, and you keep voting for the very person who's voting against your own self-interest. That's why they're afraid of Ocasio-Cortez, because they know she's going to have her facts together, and they don't want to be embarrassed in front of their own people. I say, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, if Barr has the audacity to rescind your invitation, damn it, go there anyway. Go to his home district. Damn it, go to his precinct and meet with his own voters and say, I dare you to come out of hiding and come stand next to me. If that's how Democrats can actually counter Republicans and Trump. You take it to them, to their own people, and then you say, which one is it? This is your life. And these are their policies, and these are our policies. Which one is going to make your life better? Oh, I love to see people who are on the run. So Fox News, y'all can also call me. I will go on any one of your shows, anytime, any day, anywhere. All y'all got to do is call. But I think y'all, just like the Republican in Kentucky, you don't want your audience hearing a smart black person who's going to bring it to you and bring them something that they never heard before. Y'all want to keep that old wine in old wineskins. I don't drink. Oh, but I'm wine. New wine. Fine wine. And I will bring the funk any day. I think our panelists really appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. All right, folks, I'll be broadcasting tomorrow from Las Vegas. I'm going there for the National Association of Black Journalists Board meeting. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to support Bring the Funk Fan Club. Every dollar that you give to support the show goes to make this show possible. We got some great stuff lined up for you on tomorrow as well. Go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And also, all of you who are members of our fan club, look for your email box. You're going to have a promo code which you use for discounts to items that are going to be on our website. We're going to start selling those items tomorrow, so you look for it in your box. I haven't decided, what should I do? Should it be 10, 15, or 20% discount for people who are part of the fan club? 25? No. Okay, well, 10, I gave you three options. 10%.
I'm going to say 20.
I think 20.
Okay, you said 10, you said 20, you said 25. I'm probably making 15. But I'll decide. I'll let you decide what it is. And so, y'all go to the website, RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can pay by Cash App, PayPal, or even Square. All right, folks, do that. Because y'all know we're going to keep bringing the funk and give you some information you're not getting anywhere else. And also go to the Negro Leagues Museum if you want to get this Kansas City Monarchs jersey. It's number 25. That's your page's number. So support that institution. Black folks built it. Black folks should support it. I got to go. Holla! You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.